Well, God bless you, saints. This is Brother Tom, a simple, unprofitable servant of the Lord Jesus Christ. And today is October the 23rd, 2014. And thank you for joining the hangout. I wanted to discuss something of politics today. It's it's a very important time for all of us, all throughout the whole country. We here with American Chronicles 714 are praying 7:14 a.m. and 7:14 p.m. each and every day, all the way up to and through the midterm elections, and believing God will heal our land. And that's what I'm believing for. Second Chronicles 7:14 says, "If my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and forgive their sins and heal their land." And we need a healing in this land, something awful. We really do. And that's what it's going to take, is his people, his Christians, people, believers, who will humble themselves and pray and seek his face and turn from our own wicked ways. Turn from our own wicked ways, and then he'll take it from there. He'll take it from there. So we've got the election coming up, less than 2 weeks away. This is a Thursday. We've got 2 more Tuesdays, and we're there. November the 4th, midterm elections. I've already sent my ballot in. I received mine. I went down to the courthouse. Larry Crane's Pulaski County Clerk Registrar. Yeah, I went down there and got my own ballot, and an absentee ballot, because I never know really whether I'm going to be here or not, or available to actually vote. So I go ahead and get an absentee ballot and fill it out, review it real well before I fill it out and vote, and then send it in. I usually mail it in, just put 3 stamps on it instead of driving all the way down to the courthouse or my precinct and handing it in, because it's just the process. It's very simple, and because it's cheaper that way. It's cheaper to do it that way instead of driving someplace like the courthouse where you've got to pay for your parking and the whole works. And anyway, I wanted to mention one particular issue that's on the ballot here in Arkansas that I'm really concerned about, because if people don't get educated about that particular issue, they might vote the wrong way. They might actually vote a way that they don't intend to vote, because of the deceptive wording of the issue. Issue number 3 is deceptively worded, and I do believe it was done that way on purpose by the legislators, House and Senate members, who I understand about 70% of them approved of the wording and approved of putting this issue on the ballot for the voters to determine, whether or not there will be a change in the current term limits that are set for the General Assembly. Matter of fact, they put term limits at the end of the whole issue. If you read it on the ballot, it's the longest one. If you read all the issues, I think there's 5 issues on the ballot this year, and issue 3 is the longest one, and it just takes, it's about 6 inches long to read it on the ballot. And in reading it, you would think, well, okay, taking away the ability to contribute to political campaigns and setting salaries for constitutional General Assembly members, for instance, all that sounds good. And then it says, and establishing term limits for the General Assembly, establishing as if we don't already have term limits. Term limits have already been established. I think it was 1992 when a group led by Bob Porto, I believe, or Bob Porto was a part of the group, called Term Limits. They set up a group that pushed through an effort to initiate term limits for the General Assembly, for the State House of Representatives and the State Senate members here in Arkansas. And it passed by a vast majority of the voters in Arkansas. People in Arkansas like term limits, and term limits right now are 6 years maximum for a House of Representatives member and 8 years maximum for a state Senate member. And that's all you get. Once you have your 6 years as a House of Representatives, you can run for the Senate and get your 8 years there, and that's a total of 14 years, and that ought to be plenty time for anybody to serve in the General Assembly. So people in the state of Arkansas like their term limits, and that's why they voted for it. I mean, Republican, Democrat, Independent, it didn't matter. People across the board like term limits, and I like term limits. It prevents us having career politicians or people just staying in there for decades and decades and becoming very, very powerful. And so, but this issue 3 is worded in such a way that someone might read that issue on the ballot and say, establishing term limits for the General Assembly. And people might think, actually, it's confusing, because I thought, well, wait a minute, I thought we had term limits. When I read that first, I said, well, I thought we already had term limits. And yes, we do. We have term limits already. It's already been voted on by the voters, by the people. And thanks to Bob Porto and others with the termlimits.org or something, they put together a great campaign and did a great job for the people of Arkansas. And but the way this thing is worded on the ballot, and the wording was put there, I understand, by the legislators, and I think it's headed up by Senator John Woods of Springdale, who's already had 3 terms as a House of Representative member. I believe he's on his first term as a state senator, and then someone else by the name of Sabin, I believe, who's a Democrat. But John Woods, I believe, is a Republican, and it sounds to me like he's a rhino, Republican in name only type of person. And I don't know him personally, but anyone who is responsible for putting this issue on the ballot in the wording that it has on the ballot ought to be ashamed of themselves, because it's an obvious attempt to deceive the voters. An obvious attempt, because it doesn't even say on the ballot, what establishing what term limits. Well, the term limits that they want to reestablish or change to are 16 years for House of Representatives, and then 16 years for the state Senate. So a person with that type of setup could actually serve 16 years in the House of Representatives and then run for Senate and have 16 years there. That's 32 years, people. Wow. That's just not what I believe that the people in Arkansas would like to have. Now, if you want the State House of Representatives to have up to 16 years in the House of Representatives and up to 16 years in the state Senate, vote for issue 3. But I'm saying it's this. I believe the legislators put this on the ballot with the intent of deceiving, hoping no one would actually look closely at it and read that thing. It says establishing term limits for General Assembly and think, oh, well, yeah, I'm for term limits, and vote for it, when in fact we already have term limits set in the state of Arkansas, and they are 6 years for House of Representatives and 8 years for state Senate, and that should be plenty for anyone. And I could talk more and more about that issue, because as far as I'm concerned, when anyone sets out to deceive, shame on them, and I will expose that as quickly as I can. That's one of the things with the American Chronicles 7:14 I'm praying for, is that those of us who do see deception in our public office holders, or any politician, we will expose that so that the people can know the truth and can make their own decisions. Like I say, if you're for term limits of 16 years for House of Representatives and 16 for Senate, go ahead and vote for it. But make it clear, I don't want anyone deceived as to what they're voting for when they go into the voting booth. So I'm going to put this on YouTube. I don't want people to know about issue number 3. And I say vote against it, because I think we got plenty of term limits. Our term limits are set just fine already. And we don't need to expand that to include up to 32 total years. 14 years is plenty of time for anybody who wants to serve in the General Assembly here in Arkansas to get done what they want to do and serve and go on home and get busy doing whatever you do, whether it's a business person or a housewife or a minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ like me, or whatever. Just give them 14 years total. If that's not enough, then there's another problem. So, all right. Well, thank you, Bob Porto, and all those who are with, it's called Save Arkansas Termlimits.org. Save AR termlimits.org. Save Arkansas Termlimits.org. Go to Save Arkansas Termlimits.org and check it out. Learn more about this before you go to the polls, and then try to tell people about it. Because like I say, when the state Democrat Party and the Republican Party and the independents, as far as I know, all are against issue number 3 for good reason. And then the state legislators put this together and try to deceive the voters, like they're obviously trying to do, and not trying to bring it up and not trying to talk about it and hoping it just slips by. We got a real issue with this issue number 3. And it's not necessarily with the issue. It's because, I mean, if it were clear, a half-truth is a whole lie. A half-truth is a whole lie. And I think they're giving us a half-truth here, and it's a whole lie. Shame on them, those that are a part of putting this issue together. And the real problem is with the legislators for having done this to the good people of Arkansas and putting it on the ballot. There's some real issues. We need to get to the bottom of this, and I'm sure there are a whole lot of other reasons behind all this. I wish I could hear from John Woods. If he'll call me, I'll interview him. I'll give him a fair opportunity to explain his, why this issue is on the ballot and why it's worded the way it's worded, so as to obviously deceive people. So vote against issue 3. If they want to change term limits, let them do it face up, full. I mean, just clearly bring it before the people, and don't try to bury it into other things that look real good that they can take care of elsewhere without putting an amendment to the state constitution like this issue would do. So All right. Well, this is Brother Thom, a simple, unprofitable servant of the Lord Jesus Christ, saying Jesus is Lord. And whatever you do, don't forget to vote. Vote early or vote on November the 4th, or go get you an absentee ballot like I did and send it in. There's no reason why you couldn't vote. All right. Talk to you later. Contact me. Let me know what you think. Contact me at helpmebrotherthom@gmail.com. That's HELPMEBROTHOM@gmail.com. Or call me, 501-231-4123. Be glad to speak with you about it. All right. Talk to you later. God bless.